Yeah, yeah. Imagine having no running water to drink. Chemicals contaminate the pipes leading to your sink. Just think, if the grocery stores close their doors and they saturate the streets with tanks and start martial law, would you be ready for civil war? Would you take the life of somebody you know?
The natural environment is our life support system. Like all species, we depend on its various elements to sustain ourselves. Without fresh air to breathe, clean water to drink, and healthy soil for our food to grow, we will quickly perish. Although the vast majority of humans have been coerced into abandoning their natural habitats for artificial human environments, we all still depend on air, water, and soil to survive. Therefore, destroying our natural environment is suicide. Yet that's exactly what we're doing. The continued destruction of the natural environment is a widely accepted fact. In the 1990s, 1,500 prominent scientists, which included a majority of living Nobel Prize winners, signed a warning to humanity that population growth, overconsumption, inappropriate technological applications, and continued economic expansion are destroying the very life support systems that we all need to survive. A similar documented warning was also issued by 58 World Academies of Science that human-created destruction is out of control. In the last few years, scientists from Cornell University estimated that now more than 40% of deaths globally are directly caused by pollution and other environmental factors. It is estimated that air pollutants now adversely affect the health of over 5 billion people worldwide. In China, respiratory disease is a leading cause of death, with only 1% of 500 Chinese cities having clean air. Of the 80,000 chemicals in use today, at least 10% are recognized as carcinogens. In the United States, cancer-related deaths increased from 331,000 in 1970 to 521,000 in 1992. At least 30,000 of these deaths were directly related to chemical exposure. Even though the use of lead in U.S. gasoline has declined since 1985, an estimated 1.7 million children living in the U.S. have unacceptable, dangerous levels of lead in their blood. Pesticide use globally also continues to be on the increase. In 1945, an estimated 50 million kilograms a year were used, compared with over 2.5 billion a year currently. Today's pesticides are more than 10 times as toxic to living organisms as those used in the 1950s. Our forests continue to be depleted, our waterways contaminated, our air polluted. Global warming continues to increase, and it is quite clear that life on this planet is in great danger. If we do not choose to realize this and take appropriate action immediately, the Earth will no longer be able to sustain life for future generations.
Open your eyes, time to wake up. Enough is enough, is enough, is enough. Open your eyes, time to wake up. Enough is enough, is enough.
The destruction of life is not a mere random occurrence, but a deliberate act of violence performed by those entities concerned with nothing more than pursuing extreme economic gain at any cost. With this realization in mind, it becomes only logical to work to remove the profit motive from killing the earth and all life on it.
Particularly with the advent of the Industrial Revolution, the westernized way of life has been in complete violation of natural law. There is a major difference between taking actions for the immediate sustenance of you, your family, and your close-knit community, and actions taken to stockpile wealth and to demonstrate power and dominion over, and oftentimes at, the expense of others. Yes, everyone should have access to the basic necessities of living, a suitable shelter, not only for you, but for the natural environment, access to healthy food, again, not just for you, but for the natural environment, access to proper health care, etc. But there is no excuse for, out of pure greed and selfishness, desiring more than you need to live a free and happy life. The majority of stockpiling, greed, and monetary wealth comes at the expense of others, whether humans, non-human animals, or the natural environment. It is the very social and political ideology in operation throughout the westernized countries that is creating the various injustices on this planet and ultimately the destruction of life. That ideology is capitalism and the mindset that allows it to exist. Capitalism, and what we have referred to in the United States for years, the American dream, have long symbolized a form of economic opportunity and freedom. The idea that no matter who you were, if you worked hard all your life, you too could have the perfect husband or wife, the 2.3 kids, the new BMW or Mercedes, the beach house on Maui and penthouse in New York City, and loads of cash to play with.
What wasn't and still isn't told to the millions seeking the American dream is that dream comes at a price. Always has and always will. That price consists of everything from taking advantage of slave labor, dumping toxic waste into our waterways, murdering those who take a stand for justice, destroying cultures, destroying environments, and exploiting and oppressing anyone or anything that poses to be a threat, a nuisance, or a bump along the path to riches.
Often our governments pride themselves on freedom and liberty and assert that all problems can be resolved through legal, state-sanctioned means of social change. But when decades of attempts to solve problems through legal means have proven fruitless, are we supposed to continue to work strictly within the law or give up altogether? When the state itself causes and profits from the various injustices we struggle against, how is it logical to believe the system will change without being forced? Every successful social movement throughout history has included both legal and illegal tactics. And if we are to succeed today, our efforts need to be equally diverse. The mainstream public has been fed an extreme amount of false and misleading propaganda regarding traditional tactics as those which are strictly legal and sanctioned by the state. But in reality, a more honest definition of traditional tactics would include illegal direct action, such as economic sabotage, due to its crucial role in numerous successful political and social movements throughout history. State-sanctioned tactics have been proven not to work, especially on their own. Since the early 1960s, the popular environmental movement has failed in its attempts to bring about the needed protection to stop the destruction of life on this planet. The quality of our air, water, and soil continues to decrease as more and more life forms on the planet suffer and die as a result. How much longer are we supposed to wait to actually stop the destruction of life? A belief in state-sanctioned legal means of social change is also a sign of faith in the legal system of that same state. This blind faith has only served to increase the rates of incarceration and police brutality cases of those acting to protect the natural world. The state has repeatedly shown itself to care far more about the protection of commerce and profits than of its people and the natural environment. To place faith in that same state as though it will do what is in our best interests is utter foolishness and a grave mistake. There is also a certain intelligence and logic to the idea that with one night's work, a few individuals can accomplish what years of legal battles and millions of dollars most likely did not.
Ground group called the Earth Liberation Front is turning up the heat again.
It's just one of dozens of acts of arson and economic sabotage claimed by the Earth Liberation Front since it emerged 4 years ago, calling itself the burning rage of a dying planet.
For 3 years, the E.L.F. has claimed responsibility for economic sabotage, totaling more than $21 million in
The Earth Liberation Front is an international underground organization that uses direct action in the form of economic sabotage to try and directly stop the destruction of the natural environment. The organization is an environmental group, but also one that realizes the true cause of murder and destruction of life. They don't feel it's enough to work on individual single issues, but in addition, the capitalist state itself and its symbols of propaganda must also be targeted. It may be then more realistic to refer to the organization as one which is working to protect all life on this planet. The E.L.F. is organized into autonomous cells, which operate anonymously and independently from one another and the general public. The group contains no hierarchy or central leadership, but instead operates under an ideology. And if an individual believes in that ideology and they follow a certain set of widely published guidelines, he or she can perform actions and become part of the Earth Liberation Front.
The Earth Liberation Front guidelines are as follows. Number 1. To cause maximum economic damage to a given entity that is profiting off the destruction of the natural environment. Number 2. To educate the public on the atrocities committed against the environment and life. And number 3. To take all necessary precautions against harming life. Since the mid-1990s, the Earth Liberation Front actions, particularly in North America, have steadily increased and have appeared in a growing number of geographical areas. More and more people are becoming involved with the E.L.F. globally, which is no surprise. The threat to the natural environment caused by the desire for monetary gain is very real, and so our dedication to protecting life must become uncompromising.
Individuals interested in becoming active in the E.L.F. need to follow these guidelines and form your own closed-knit anonymous cell made up of trustworthy and sincere people. Remember, the E.L.F. and each cell within it are anonymous, not only to one another but to the general public. There's no realistic chance of becoming active in an already existing cell. Take initiative, form your own cell, and do what needs to be done to protect all life on this planet.
I was born in a dump. My mama died and my daddy, he got drunk. He left me here to die or grow in the middle of Tobacco Road. I grew up in a rusty shack. All I owned was hanging on my back. And Lord knows how I learned this place called Tobacco Road. Tobacco Road, you're dirty and you're filthy. Tobacco Road, gonna get me some dynamite and a crane. I'm gonna blow it up. Lord knows I'm gonna start all over again.
Clearly, the profit motive is a driving force behind the destruction of the natural environment. Entities are destroying the earth because by doing so, they stand to make large profits. The Earth Liberation Front realized that those destroying the earth only care about the accumulation of wealth and have proven to pursue profits at any cost. So in logical efforts to eliminate the profit motive from the destruction of the natural environment, the Earth Liberation Front take direct action in the form of economic sabotage. Arson has become a popular tool of the E.L.F. for the obvious reason that it maximizes economic damage to a particular target. If an action burns down an entire building full of equipment and files, that target suffers much more economic hardship than if only a portion of their assets were sabotaged. In addition, this tactic is very successful at gaining attention. This attention is naturally not going to come as praise from the federal authorities and the mainstream media, who clearly benefit from the continued exploitation of life on Earth. Due to the success and persistence of the E.L.F., the group's activity has often been labeled as violence and terrorism. Can you imagine just what might occur if the E.L.F. were not labeled negatively? What if people were honestly told why the group exists and who its targets were? If that were so, obviously more and more people would support and take part in E.L.F. actions. The Earth Liberation Front is not an eco-terrorist group or any sort of violent organization, but one that is working to protect all life on Earth. It's amazingly hypocritical for the federal government and the mainstream media to label the E.L.F. a terrorist organization, while at the same time ignoring the real violence and terror that's being perpetrated by governments and corporations daily as they exploit, torture, and murder people around the world in the name of commerce. The E.L.F. have never harmed anyone, but instead have successfully sabotaged millions of dollars in property that's being used to destroy life. It's ridiculous to argue that one can be violent towards a piece of property, especially when that property threatens the very natural elements that we all need to survive.
All of us must look upon this global movement to protect all life as a matter of self-defense. If someone were threatening your loved ones or one of your friends, I would hope and I would expect that you would engage in any and all necessary actions to stop that threat to life. If someone were threatening you, threatening your life, I would hope and again I would expect that you would engage in any and all necessary actions to stop that threat to life. Well, your life is being threatened, as are the lives of those you care deeply about. Life on this planet is being threatened, and immediate and direct action needs to be taken. If we are serious about stopping the destruction and exploitation of all life on this planet, then we must also be serious about recognizing the need for a real direct action campaign in our own personal involvement. It doesn't take a trained expert to become involved in the Earth Liberation Front, just individuals who care about life on the planet to the degree that they want to take actions to protect it. Environmental protection is a matter of self-defense, and the E.L.F. actions are a natural, necessary response to the very real threats to life on Earth.
Every fire needs a little bit of help. Nothing ever burns down by itself. Every fire needs a little bit of help. Nothing ever burns down by itself. Every fire needs a little bit of help. Nothing ever burns down by itself. Every fire needs a little bit of help. Nothing ever burns down by itself. Every fire needs a little bit of help. Nothing ever burns down by itself. Every fire needs a little bit of help.
Yeah, yeah. Imagine having no running water to drink. Chemicals contaminate the pipes leading to your sink. Just think, if the grocery stores close their doors and they saturate the streets with tanks and start martial law, would you be ready for civil war? Could you take the life of somebody you know or have feelings for if necessary? I got cousins in the military, but far as I'm concerned, they die when they register.
This world is oh so cold. I think about my ancestors being soul, and it make me wanna break the mold. Fuck the goal and the party. Train yourself, clean your shouting. Tell me what you gonna do to get free. We need more than MCs. We need Hueys and revolutionaries. The niggas on the streets today is kinda scary. The smell around my way ain't roses or strawberries. In fact, it's kinda poisonous, bringing out the boy in us. But I'ma stand up.